Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Commodity TV and the new edition of our online interview series. And we want to get an update and insight, of course, from Revival Gold. And Hugh Agro, the CEO, is here with us. Before we start, this program is on behalf of and paid for Revival Gold for disclaimer reasons. Thanks. Yeah, welcome. And Hugh, a very good morning. You are in Atlanta, I think I heard. And how is it going? You have just been at the Mercur project, right?
Oh, it's been wonderful. Great to be with you, Jochen. I know that you're going to be transitioning soon here, so we're really happy to have this chance to catch up with you before you do that. And I'm just back from the Mercur project. Yeah, really good visit.
Okay, super. Can you tell us anything? What, new developments? How is it going there? I see a big smile on your face, so it looks like the things are fine.
Yeah, well, we're really excited. We've got about 20 people working out in that project right now. They're doing an awesome job. We've got through about 108 drill holes now so far this year. Most of it very shallow drilling in the heap leach project at our Mercur project in Utah. And but we're pushing some of those holes deeper beyond the current resource, and we're getting some success there. We're seeing alteration. We're getting grades. So expansion potential is definitely in the future here for what we've got at our Mercur project. But the results that we've got to date, I guess about 40 holes that have been released to date. We've got another group of results that will come out this week, are coming up really well against the PEA, the preliminary economic assessment, the grade we had there, and the recoveries that are assumed in that report. We're coming up
Hmm.
really well in our intercepts to date, getting about 0.7 grams per ton average grade. We're getting about 80% cyanide soluble to fire assay ratio, which is a really good indicator of recoveries. And I'm really happy because we've collected enough material from our drilling this year to do all of the column test, metallurgical test work that we want to do. So we'll get that started here very shortly. And
Hmm.
of course, that sets us up for the PFS next year. Permitting preparations all moving along really very well. We had our lead permitting gang out to site while I was out there, and I think things are moving along very well there. We've got cultural studies underway. Raptor studies will start this winter, and then we'll be into 2026 with the formal start of permitting.
Hmm. Super. So the PFS you mentioned, will that be done already in the first half next year?
I think it's a second half thing, and meanwhile, we've got a lot more drilling we want to do too. The geologists are going to be busy. Actually, we're busy with some hiring. We've got big plans for next year. We'll say more about that going into the new year. But rest assured, with EMR Capital backing us, Dundee Corporation backing us, these guys want us to move fast. And remember, Jochen, at our Utah project, we're on private ground, so we can move really quickly. Actually, I don't think that the permitting is going to be the bottleneck here. It could
Mhm.
be that we're talking about the engineering design work. Of course, we want to go through the PFS and the FS and the work around the detailed engineering,
Mhm.
and that's all moving along well too.
Super. And I could imagine that there is like a wind of change, I would call it, through the Trump administration and through the whole fact that many more metals, including gold, are now on the critical mineral list, like silver, uranium, etc. And do you see or do you feel that already that this helps you also in an acceleration of permitting, of getting things faster done?
Yeah, I do think there's a change. We were talking offline a little bit about this. It's not just about the White House and the Trump administration. I mean, we're working through a state process in Utah, so we don't depend on the Trump administration for help. But everybody across the board has been much more receptive to seeing responsible mining move ahead, and that's very positive for the United States, for the world, really. I
Mhm.
mean, we need these metals. Look, Agnico Eagle has landed in the United States. This is the first major capital investment that they've made through their participation in the Stibnite project in Idaho.
Mhm.
Of course, a
Mhm.
neighbor to our project there. and they're not just going there for one project. We've never seen Agnico land in a country and not do more than just one project. So I think this is a really good indication of the state of play in the United States right now, and
Mhm,
also an indication of the fact that these big gold companies, they'll need to replace the resources in their reserves. I mean, we're running at global production at about 110, 120 million ounces a year. We're not finding enough to feed that global production trend,
mhm,
perhaps one fifth of that, let alone putting that into operation and construction. So the the um, the setup for investors in being involved in these development companies that offer excessive leverage to the upside in the metal prices
mhm,
is has never been better in my mind. Here we are, Revival Gold, 6 million ounces of gold in great locations in the Western United States,
mhm.
target production of 160,000 ounces a year. For every 1,000 shares of Revival Gold held, an investor gets exposure to 22 ounces of gold. And at $4,000 an ounce, I'd say that's a lot of value leverage for the buck.
I would say
It's a
that
really good.
sounds like a great deal. Definitely.
Well, look, it is, and we were talking a little bit about this offline. It's it it the market cap of Revival Gold now sitting at about 200 million Canadian dollars, trading 500,000 to 1,000,000 shares a day, is starts to become really compelling for the passive funds. And I think there'll be a step up here in terms of our valuation as we get into 2026 and see some of that appetite materialize. A bigger market cap attracts
Mhm,
more passive investors, which is where the markets generally have gone. And then we've got all these other favorable tailwinds that we've been talking about: government
yeah.
support, Exim bank financing capabilities, Fast 41 on the permitting. We've got all the success from our exploration activities, and of course, they're just not making enough of these projects to feed the demand.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that is really for sure, and I think you are really in the right location, in the right country, especially with a lot of support, but also safe. Yeah, with a safe jurisdiction. Now, let's put it that way. You have two projects which can go quite fast into production. Fast means within the next 2 to 3 years. And will Mercur be the first one, and then followed by Bertrand Arnett?
Yeah, you know this from our history, Jochen. We started out in Idaho. The reason why we added Utah is that it does move quicker because we're on private ground there.
Mhm,
So we're talking about 2 years to complete the permitting aspects. We'll commence that beginning of next year, and that really is advantageous for us. So we're expecting that we'll get through our PFS next year, FS the year after that, and be in construction by the beginning of 2028.
mhm. Okay, but that's for Mercur, right?
Utah. Yes. Yeah, that's for our Mercur project in Utah. And then the nice thing about the portfolio is that Bear Track Arnett will follow about a year after that. So we can use
Mhm,
free cash flow from Mercur to fund our activities on the other project, Bear Track Arnett in Idaho. And meanwhile,
mhm,
the gold's not going anywhere here. 6 million ounces in the ground since we started the business. The price
yeah.
of gold's pretty much quadrupled.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if I look at Bertrand Arnett, that is really crazy to me because you have a PFS already, and with 8 years mine life, yeah, I could imagine with the next drill program that might be then 10 or 11 years, whatever. But what I really like with it is $109 million pre-production capex. Even if we make that $150 million because of inflation, whatever surprises, unforeseen things, that's nothing for such a gold production. So
Yeah.
can't you, let's say, accelerate the feasibility study and move that really super fast into production? What is the reason that this takes a bit longer than Mercury?
The reason is that Idaho is on a federal land, so we go through a
Mhm,
federal
okay.
process there.
So that's really the
Merc
reason. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm,
and Mercer's on private ground. so we can move through a state process really quickly there. We've got the same, it's all in the name of the company, Revival Gold, right? So we've got the same revival of successful past producing sites where we've got all that infrastructure,
Mhm.
capital savings. So our Mercur project, the capital there for 100,000 ounces a year of production is going to be about $210 million. So
Also
these
not
are
much.
these are relatively small numbers.
Mhm.
If you think about it, we'll be generating about $400 million of revenue per year at current gold prices at our Mercur project. So 210 million of capital is not a big number. And again, we're in the Western United States. We're an hour from Salt Lake City with its international airport and all the people in that area. So no requirement for a camp, no complications around attracting people like you would get in one of these fly-in operations or remote locations, or where you've got security concerns in parts of Africa and South America. These are all advantages for us, and we will move as quickly as we can. I do think there's some opportunity around that. One step at a time. We're in infill drilling mode right now. We've got metallurgical test work coming up next,
Mhm.
permitting, PFS, so all these things moving along at a very good rate. And again, I want to point to the fact that these two projects are just the first phase in what we see on the geological systems we have at Mercur and at Bear Track Arnett. I mean, they're big
Mhm.
geological systems. We've got already 6 million ounces of gold. I think those numbers are going to grow. I neglected to mention that we are drilling the southern extent of our Bear Track project, and you might remember that we got some really high grades in that
Yeah.
deposit. So that's a big catalyst for us coming up in the January February timeframe. Drilling right
Mhm.
through the winter this year. 3 rigs underway, and so lots of news to come.
Okay, super. I saw also that you have done the pre-feasibility study with a 43 after-tax IRR at $2,175 per ounce. We are almost double now. Have you done some mathematics, what it means at 4,350?
Yeah, yeah. It's Look, this again. This is why owning a development company like Revival Gold is so special for investors. If an investor is looking at the gold price and saying, "My gosh, it's run. We're at $4,200 an ounce
Mhm.
gold. I don't really want to take on more exposure to the metal at this price." uh,
Mhm.
you can you can buy exposure at a discount by buying into quality junior gold miners like
Yeah.
Revival Gold. You're getting those ounces of gold for about $20 an ounce in the ground.
Mhm.
Now, of
Yeah.
course, we have to capitalize the construction and all the rest of it, but it's still very good exposure, very good value. And I think about your point, which is, at $4,000 gold, this project at Mercur alone is worth 1.2 billion.
Mhm.
Just the one project is worth 1.2 billion of NPV at $4,000 gold. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of value leverage in the stock.
Absolutely. Um, Also, you have got some big additional names into your share registry over the last 18 months, as I would call it, and that brings me to the question, to my understanding at least, I see a lot of M&A activities over the 2026 and 2027, and I could imagine that you are definitely a target, or let's put it that way, really on the radar of those companies. Because it is much cheaper to buy a developer instead of exploring by themselves and then bring it into production. And so you have like the linen on the table, the silver fork and knife, a wonderful gold plate. Everything is there. Yeah, you only need the meal to be prepared, and that's it. And then you can mine, right? So what is your protection that you are not getting bought too cheap?
Well, first of all, EMR Capital and Dundee Corporation have just come in the last actually 8 months. Really, it's
Mhm.
it's happened very quickly, and
Mhm.
you're right. There is a lot of interest around the company. We've really pushed back though on these joint venture proposals, the streaming proposals, the royalty proposals. We've tried to keep things really clean. even in the strategic investments that we've taken on, we've ensured that those are very clean structures without requirements for streams and royalties or first rights or refusals on those aspects of the balance sheet. We want to push all that out to when it's time to think about construction. And so we do have active dialogue with a lot of folks, but we're pretty careful about who we take on and how we take them on. And in fact, we've just brought on a gentleman by the name of Scott Treblecock on our team. I think you know Scott from his
Oh,
past
yes.
life, very successfully put together Mandalay as part of the team there into $1 billion transaction, and prior to that, Nevson, which was a huge success in Serbia, I believe. So Scott's joined our team to help get the word out, work the network that he has, and ensure that
Super.
we're getting maximum eyeballs on the story and folks through the data room and all those things, so that we have lots of options ahead of us on the strategic front, and
Yeah.
lots, lots, lots going on there for sure. But
Okay,
listen,
super.
we're shareholders first, right? So,
Yeah.
we're not in this for the quick flip. We want to create something that makes meaningful value for our investors,
Mhm.
and we think that we're in precisely the right spot at precisely the right time with precisely the right vehicle. It's pretty amazing. It's an exciting time to be in the gold business.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I'm a shareholder too, and I see the same way. To be honest, my price targets are already at 150 to $2 for your stock. But what I wanted to hear is, what is your price prediction? Well, for this year, that makes no more sense. But what is your price prediction for next year? And I don't say any specific time, but just for next year. Where do you see gold?
But I don't have a crystal ball, Jochen, you know that. Um, Here's what I see. I see a very disciplined senior gold market. We are just
Mhm.
not seeing the kind of exuberance that we saw in prior cycles. So I don't see a lot of supply coming on. I don't see investment in new production. I don't see I see a lot of money being returned to shareholders. I think TD Capital came out with their estimates, six and a half billion of free cash flow just in the third quarter, of which 1.7 billion went back to
Mhm.
investors as share buybacks. So the industry is being very disciplined. I think that bodes very well for gold. The other
Mhm.
thing, which I think, and you and I talked a little bit about this offline, which I think is going to be catalytic for the gold business, has been catalytic for the gold business already, is the emergence of stable coins as a buyer of gold. And look, we've got the Genius Act in the U.S., which is opening up the financial regulatory system to these stable coins. It's creating a whole new universe of buyers for the metal. So you asked me what's going to happen to the gold price. I don't think it has anything anywhere to go but up from here. And even if it does retrace, as you've pointed out earlier in the call here, our projects are going to make a lot of money even at $3,000 gold, let alone $4,000 gold.
Yeah, definitely. Now, those will be real cash cows. Last question. How much money is in the bank? Can you fulfill your feasibility study for Mercur next year? A pre-feasibility study, sorry.
Yeah, we've got about 20 million cash Canadian right now, and we're well financed to do what we want to do. The question is, what else can we do faster? And so
Mhm.
watch this space. I do think there's a lot of interesting pieces moving here, but we're well
Mhm.
cashed up. We're well underway with planning for next year and itching to get going. Got another month to complete this year and get all of our drilling wrapped up, but
Super.
all is thumbs up.
Perfect. Thumbs up for gold, thumbs up for Revival Gold. Hugh, thank you very much for the update. I think we have a good season in front of us, especially next year, and with a lot of news coming up. And I'm pretty sure gold will move to 5,000 next year, so that makes it even more valuable. So I wish you well. Merry Christmas, and yeah, I hope that we talk then in the new year together.
Merry
Super.
Christmas to you and your family, Yoke, and thank you for a great run. I think you and I are definitely going to be in touch next year and
Absolutely,
enjoying
that's how
some,
we do.
some celebratory moments.
Super. Thank you very much, Hugh. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Hugh Agro, the CEO of Revival Gold, one of the real good and high quality gold developers. You heard it in Utah, in Idaho. They have two projects which can go within the next 3 to 4 years into production, maybe a little bit faster. We will see. But with those gold prices, those are real cash spitting cows, and this is really unbelievable because the company has only 200 million Canadian dollars market cap, and that is a real joke. So I think a double from here is extremely likely, even if not a triple or more over the next 2 3 years, because that is real value. And don't forget, for you said 1,000 shares, you get 20 ounces gold. So I think that's a great deal because 1,000 shares is 850 Canadian dollars, and you get approximately 88,000 US dollars for that. So really think on that mathematics. I'm a shareholder. I will buy definitely more, and I really like the company and the team because here you have super high quality management team, fantastic projects in the USA with a big support from the government. That's exactly what you need. So make sure you have a very close look at Revival Gold. Thanks for watching us, and Merry Christmas to all of you. Please stay healthy. All the best.